go up the middle, and he got clocked by Gallimore.
With an appearance in the championship game. Mohan in trouble.
Great sunglasses at night. Here's Cornelius, not that time. Neville Gallimore drops him.
You recovers at the 20-yard line. Neville Gallimore, another big play.
Action play. Duggan into the arms of Neville Gallimore.
Neville Gallimore with the sack.
Hello and welcome. It is UK Cowboys TV, Season 1, Episode number 45, and it is a breakdown of everything that has gone down over this weekend and the past few days. In order to help us break everything down, we've got the usual menagerie with us of Bryan and Jamie, and of course a very special guest. I'm sure you all recognise him, all the way from the USA DC Scouting. We have Mr. West Coast with us, Tyson Jameson. How you doing, brother?
I'm good, man. How y'all doing this evening?
We're all great over here. Obviously, I've been told not to say the word, so I'm going to call it C-virus. So obviously, we just want to give everyone our well wishes at this time. We know obviously some people are getting a bit stressed out, a bit panicked with everything. One thing I can say is people like ourselves and like West Coast. Are you okay?
Oh, yeah, I'm good.
No, just as it's going on, like it's a live thing going on here. Yes, obviously, if you ever get stressed out, you've always got idiots like ourselves or more intelligent people like West Coast that you can always fall back on to have a good time and a good laugh. So thumbs up from all of us over here, and hope you're all doing okay and you're all staying safe. But yes, let's move on to the more positive things. As we all know, guys, a lot has happened. Just as an initial feeling, if you like, of what's going on, I'll start with you, Ty. What is your general feeling of the players that have stayed? I'm going all the way back from Jarwin, all the way up to Amari's signing that happened today. Going through all of that, the players who have stayed and the players who have gone, what's just your general feeling of everything? Are you up? Are you down? What's just the general feeling right now?
I mean, I think I'm pretty good. I think I've been kind of like getting my audience ready for this since last year because, last year we signed 27 people to 1-year contracts. Actually, we signed 21 to 1-year contracts, and we had another 6 guys who were contracts who were expiring, and we didn't attempt or even try to do any of those guys last year. You know what I'm saying? And you think about the guys that we signed in last year's free agency, all those guys technically had contracts except for DeMarcus Lawrence. So it's like we pushed everybody back onto this year. So like, I sell jerseys, I sell merchandise, and I tell people all the time last year, I was saying, hey, man, if I was you, I wouldn't buy Cowboy jerseys this year unless they was custom jerseys because there was going to be a lot of change. If you ask yourself, if you start off with 27 friends on Monday, I promise you by Friday, you're not going to have 27. Like, I promise you, someone's going to fall off 6 or 7. So, I knew that there was going to be some change. As far as the major parts to the change, I'm happy that, our team as far as a whole is going to be the same because you're still going to have the core of your offense as far as Amari Cooper is going to be back. I'm about Dak Prescott getting paid because it's financially, it makes sense. Like, if you're going to marry this woman, marry her. You know what I'm saying? If not, leave her alone. You know what I'm saying? So, I was always under the impression that something was going to get taken care of with that. But my thing now is like, even though everything that we've done up to this point, unfortunately, we're still an 8-8 team. So it's like we signed all these players to be an 8-8 team still. We need to now add players so that we can get past the hump of being an 8-8 team. Because now we need to look at players that are going to add to our team to make us a playoff team. Because you can't really consider yourself building for the future yet, while if you haven't even signed your own players. So I feel like we're kind of like in a little, I'm not Catholic, but I know this word called purgatory, where you're like in between hell and heaven and
limbo.
Yeah, you're like in limbo. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know which way I'm going yet. Like, and the thing that really, really sucks about the Dallas Cowboy is, like, with other teams, it has to be like one or two players that don't get signed that make this whole thing just kind of go ooey ooey. But with the Dallas Cowboys, man, if your quarterback says, yeah, bro, I'm not coming to practice, everything we did in this offseason goes ooey ooey.
Totally
It's like dominoes. Other people have 6 and 7 dominoes that have to fall before their whole season is almost jeopardized in the offseason. With the Dallas Cowboys, it's literally one thing. Yeah. Totally right now I'm kind of like in a fuzz. I like the players that we've kept, and the players that have left outside of Randall Cobb. I kind of thought they were going to leave because they all played. The one thing about players, when you have guys that are coming like redemption road, you got to expect that when they do redeem themselves, are you going to pay them? And I think a lot of these players, kind of like a lot of these coaches that we just signed, are here to make a name and go somewhere else.
Yeah. I know what you mean. The stepping stone, basically.
Exactly.
But with you, Bri, what's the general consensus with you? I mean, how are you thinking of the whole process that's happened so far? Don't forget, we've got Redman and Jameis Olawale who got signed as well. So we'll include them in just the whole, the general foundation of what you think about it.
Like, I don't think we've done anything outside of what was expected. We knew Dak was going to get the franchise tag. No matter what any of us wanted to see happen, we all knew it was Dak was getting the tag. I'm delighted to see this. Amari is true to his word and signed a deal. He said he didn't want to leave Dallas, and I'm delighted to see he's not. Overall, on a league-wide basis, I mean, it's the season where average players go for good player money and good players go for stupid money, and I'm glad to see we're not involved in this. I want to see the team going back to doing what they do best, what they did in 2016, 2018. Will McClay picks the players we build through the draft, and let's roll, take it from there. I don't want to see all signing anyone for.
Yeah, sure.
Opener to Davian Clowney. If we can make it work with the money, all in, but otherwise.
Okay. Jamie, I'm going to go off topic slightly with you, because me and you were talking about this earlier on. A couple of non-Cowboys players that have made interest today. Me and you were talking about earlier. Tom Brady's actually officially signed with the Bucs.
Is that confirmed? Is it the Bucs?
He's gone to the Buccaneers, as it's come through today. I mean, you were talking about Tom Brady today.
Yeah, no, it's just I hadn't seen the news, but I'm a bit surprised. I thought he would have gone to the Chargers, being a California guy. For the money, he's going to go. They've got some good weapons, but I think probably the Chargers would have been a better fit. But he's I mean, he wants a new challenge. Fair play to him. It's going to be strange to see him in another uniform apart from the Patriots.
That's for sure.
So used to seeing him in the Patriots uniform, so it's going to be interesting.
Well, I mean, ironic you talk about the Chargers. Philip Rivers has actually gone to the Colts.
I think that was rumoured for a while, wasn't it? No surprise there. I'm not a massive Philip Rivers fan, to be fair. I would have liked to have seen maybe someone like a Teddy Bridgewater have a crack in Indianapolis, but they obviously thought Rivers were their guy, so they picked their poison. I would have preferred, I say, Bridgewater, but that's why I don't get paid the big bucks.
Yeah. I mean, so like I say, I always like to finish on a happy note. So what we're going to do first, guys, is let's break down the guys who have gone. And straight hot off the press, as we're recording this, It's come through. Jason Witten's gone to Oakland. So I'll go to you, right, West Coast. We've got, obviously, Randall Cobb, you mentioned him. Byron Jones, who's gone for a record-setting deal. He's now the highest-paid corner in the NFL. And Robert Quinn, who's also made his moves. He's gone to Chicago Bears. That happened this afternoon. As I say, we've got Witten, who's gone to Oakland as well. Out of all of them, who's the biggest, regardless of the money, who's the biggest loss for the Cowboys?
Also, we actually just lost a guy right now, too. Like a little about 30 seconds ago. Malik Collins just signed with the Raiders, too.
No.
Yeah, he did. Malik Collins went to the Raiders. So, I mean, just
That's
to
my
throw
guy.
unfortunately, me being in the United States, I just get the bad news first. That's all that happens, brother.
Yeah. We're waiting for it.
That's all. That's it.
We're just waiting for it to send over.
Yeah, it's like I get hit first, and then you guys feel the boom later. That's all it is. But you know what I'm saying? Bad news always goes fast. Good news always travels slow. I don't know why that is, but yeah, man. I honestly think out of the names you just said, would probably be the one that I just brought up. Probably Malik Collins, because
Definitely.
I love Jason Witten, but we were already asking for a switch between him and Blake Jarwin last year. The film said that he probably should. I'm not about to go into that. People will blow you up for that. But yeah, I love Jason Witten, but I'm happy to see him go on to his next adventure. Before everybody starts, doing anything crazy, remember there was this guy named Emmitt Smith who left. I'm just saying he left too. So if Emmitt can do it, Jason can do it too. You know what I'm saying? That's all I'm saying. But I think Malik Collins is a big loss for us right now, because as of right now, we haven't added anything. And our two biggest problems of why we did not win a Super Bowl, I always drop a video. It's called our two problems of why we did not win a Super Bowl. And I just try to pick out the two biggest problems that we had from each side. On offense, it was scoring points, period, point, poo. Doesn't matter if you say Dak wasn't a good quarterback. Doesn't matter if you say Zeke wasn't a good running back. It don't matter. At the end of the day, we could not score more points than the other team. That was a problem. If you sum up our offense in 2019, and if you sum up our defense in 2019, what would you think our issue? What was the number one thing we had in 2019? We couldn't stop people from running the ball. And then it got so bad in the regular season, late in the season, where quarterbacks started running the ball. The running back said, you know what? You take a break. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We had we literally had quarterbacks to say, you know what? You take a break, I'll take it from here. And then we just had quarterbacks just running all over us like it was nothing. So it's go ahead.
I was going to say, going off that, that's exactly what the issue was. Because, we had a quarterback who career yards were less than his one game that he had against the Cowboys.
That's amazing. And I'm going to tell you why that happened. I'm going to tell you the sole reason why that happened. It's this one word I like to say, and it's a 4-letter word. It's not LOVE, it's FILM. It's the other love word in football. FILM. The film said that the Dallas Cowboys in 2018 lost to the Los Angeles Rams in the playoffs because we gave up 274 yards. And you know what we did the very, very next year? We got Tristan Hill, who only played 7 games.
Yeah.
That's what we did. So the film from 2018 is still exactly the same on how to beat the Dallas Cowboys. In 2018, what was our biggest loss? Indianapolis and who? The Rams. And how did both teams beat us? They ran all over us. Indianapolis, we couldn't even score because we couldn't stop them from running. So what happened in 2019? Our biggest loss, our biggest defeats, all had to do with us. Either two things: our ability to score points, meaning we didn't run the ball, or two, we couldn't stop people from running the ball. Aaron Rodgers came to our house, and guess what Aaron Rodgers did? He didn't beat us. The running back did. Like, how do you have I don't get that, bro. Like you have to literally go jump off a bridge when you read that stat. You're telling me you beat Aaron Rodgers, the individual, and you still lost to him? Yes, we did. We did.
He didn't score a single touchdown.
Exactly. So you did, and that's what I said. Like, other teams watch the film on us on how to beat us, and we have not put out new film. So I think, bruh, when Malik Collins going forward, I know you didn't want to talk about the draft, but 17 had better be somebody on that line, because as of right now, it doesn't look like we're going to get any big name in free agency as far as defensive tackle. And guess what? Antoine Woods, that's my dog. Like, y'all know Antoine Woods, that's my dog. I do a lot of stuff for him, but Antoine Woods is not a large body where he can take up 2 spaces. He is a guy that is going to work really good on his man. And the issue is, in a 4-3 defense, you need 2 defensive tackles. Well, we only have 1. Unless you're and my thing is this, man, we are foolish to think that we're gonna go in and Tristan Hill is gonna stop the running. Like, man, we have grown man. I call them grown man problems. When you can't score and when you can't stop people from running, bro, that's a grown man problem. You need to go get grown men. Rookies don't come in and help you score touchdowns in the NFL. That's just not what they do. If you're an offense that scores 26 points, a rookie's going to come in and help you score 33. You know, if you're a team who can stop the run, a rookie's going to come in here and stop the run better. But if you can't stop the run, a rookie's going to come in here and do nothing. Do nothing. And then the biggest question is this. How do you do all that from pick 17? Most of them Alabama boys, they all go in rounds 1 and 5, and Clemson, because Clemson put out some good boys too. But it's we still have grown man problems. So I'm gonna be honest with you, man. I still feel the same exact way about stopping the run that I did in 2018, because technically we have not changed it. And to fix the points, go get Des Bryant. He has 73 touchdowns. I mean, it just makes sense. Let's think about last time Des was in London. What did he do?
yeah. One of the things you just brought up there, which is something we brought up on the show before about Tristan Hill. Obviously, we can't call him a bust because it's 1 year and he plays a position that obviously needs time to grow. What is your feeling on Tristan Hill? Because it's been brought up before where we're a bit concerned because obviously we didn't see much of him. So tell us why he's worthy of a roster spot then.
My issue with, honestly, I don't even have an issue with Tristan Hill. I have a problem with how the Dallas Cowboys presented him to us. They presented him to us as if we have this mega hole in the middle of our defensive line. And they presented him to us like he was a Band-Aid so big that he was going to help us stop the run and he was going to help our safeties be better. Because remember, Chris Richard comes out and says, we don't need to get a safety. We don't need Earl Thomas because we got Tristan Hill. And if you get pressure up front, then guess what? Then they won't be able to get to your linebackers and your defensive tackles. Okay, that problem technically is fixed until what? Until the water comes in and it doesn't actually stop it. So my question is, if you have a fix to a problem and it doesn't work, you still have the problem. My problem with Tristan Hill is they presented him like he was going to be a God savior, and he wasn't, man. He's an average defensive tackle who, like you said, like, I'm going to be honest with you, Mike, if the Dallas Cowboys would have did what you just said right now and told the nation, Tristan Hill is a good guy, but he's going to need 2 to 3 years to grow. Just like Taco Charleston. He's a good kid, but guess what? Defensive tackles, this is my theory about guys on the line.
You're going to tell exactly what I'm going to say, or what I've said on that show before. But
I get on my high horse and I get to going, man. I'm looking at the time, so I'm not trying to suck all the air up.
You're cool. You're going to say exactly what I've said on the show before, but say it.
But this is my philosophy on defensive line guys, right? When a defensive line guy comes in the NFL as a rookie, look at the level of competition that you're going to be playing against. There are not too many rookie offensive linemen playing and starting in the NFL. So that means if you are a rookie defensive tackle, what are you playing against? You're playing against men like us. Guys, playing against guys like us, guys who have kids in the background running around, guys who have full beards, and guys who look like they own their own business. That's what you're playing against. You're playing against grown men. And it literally, and if you look at it, if you think about it, even the first round pick D tackles take time to get used to it. Redskins have all the best defensive tackles that come out. And look at their line. They still give it up because the level of competition is so high. It's so high. And on the reverse, think about this. It's the same way for guards. Because look at Connor Williams. People be like, well, Connor Williams is a bust. No, he's not. His first game in the league, he had to play against Kiko Alonso. And then that dude Short who just got paid from his first game was against the Carolina Panthers, who had Addison, who had Alonso. Like, bro, you can't do that to a rookie, man. So it's like,
time to build.
Exactly. Like if you were a brand new carpenter and you got a brand new student, you wouldn't give him the steeple. You wouldn't give him that. You would give him go to the bathroom or go do something. If you mess it up, I can still come and clean it. We're giving primary positions and primary things that have to be done to rookies. And I'm going to tell you guys, I'm going to leave you guys with this statement right here. Any team that goes into the draft saying that we need this player in order to salvage or save our team or make our season, you don't have a good team. Because I'm going to tell you guys this, not even quarterbacks. Think about this, the most important football position in football. How much, if Joe Burrow goes to the Cincinnati Bengals right now, how much effect do you think him being the number one pick is going to have on that team? 4 games, maybe?
Yeah.
Not gonna be a lot, is it?
Because it's too many grown men. It's too many grown men.
And
So
you've got
it's-
to learn the game. You've got to build your body. These are college kids coming into an adult's game.
And then think about this. When a kid gets drafted, I was around my boy Jalen Smith. I'm real good friends with him. And I was around, a couple other players during their draft series, right? When you're a kid who's getting drafted is getting physically in like, they want to I don't want to say they're in shape, but they want to physically look in like they're in shape. Yeah. Because they want to look like they're in shape because you're on cameras, you're on everything. That's why they're, but when you're a veteran, you don't care about looking all muscular. You're working on things that you didn't do good the year before. So it's like you have that advantage. That's why I say Dallas Cowboys, if in this free agency, we have to address those problems right now. We have to address those problems because you're not going to fix them at 17. You can't fix the fact that you can't score at 17. It doesn't matter. Yeah. Can't fix it. No rookie wide receiver has come into the NFL and had an effect. The last rookie wide receiver that won Rookie of the Year was Odell Beckham. And let's just be real, there's no Odell Beckham in this draft, and you probably won't get him at 17.
And let's be fair, Odell hasn't done anything in the last 3 years either.
You want to know why? Because it's absolutely hard. It's hard for wide receivers in this day and age to come into the NFL and actually play against the coverage that they're running in. So it's like if you're drafting a wide receiver to be your number one, he's going to see double coverage. He's going to see safety help at all time. Like Michael Gallup is a good receiver, but he dropped 6 passes his rookie year, then dropped 11 his next year. So it's like you're absolutely right, Mike. It absolutely takes time. I think Tristan Hill's a good kid. I think we'll think about him differently in 2013. But I think sometimes like we kind of put him in a bad position. Like we should not have put him in that position where we were hailing him like our savior. Because then when he couldn't save us from it, everybody looks at us and be like, that's a bad thing. My last thing I'm going to tell you, man, my boy Des Bryant told me, I asked him when I met Des in 2017, I asked him like what was the biggest thing he learned from the NFL, and the number one, I thought he was gonna talk about like quarter. I was fishing for a Dak Prescott comment. but what Des told me is this, and I'll always remember this. He said, "What I learned is if you're injured, don't play." Because in 2015 he was injured, he broke his foot, and he came back. Why? Because the fans really wanted him to come back, and guess what? Ever since then, the way we view him has been different. And I translate that and put it into common sense now is if you're hurt or if you're not ready, you shouldn't be on the field. Tristan Hill was not ready. So you know what happened? He got dominated and all of our opinion about him changed when he shouldn't have even been on the field. Like, let's just be real. How many second round D tackles do you know are playing in their first year? I don't know none.
I mean, like you could even argue first round. From that draft, look at Ed Oliver. He played well, but he didn't make a huge impact. And that's a first-round guy who's deemed the best defensive tackle in that draft.
Exactly. And he didn't even think about this. He didn't even start at first. My boy Jordan Phillips, who just signed. Oh Lord, I wanted the Cowboys to go get him so bad. But Jordan Phillips actually started over him. So they drafted. I mean, that's how you're supposed to do your team. You're supposed to we should have drafted a tight end last year because we knew we were losing Jason Witten this year. Like we do too much hero system where we'll lose a guy and then we want to go get this one guy to replace all this one guy. That's not realistic. That's not realistic. We need to be doing the mentor system where you see a guy that's leaving and we get a guy under him and mentor him. Like, think about this. We did the hero system at quarterback. We didn't we found Dak Prescott. Other teams, you know what the Patriots did with Jimmy G? They did the mentor system. We got Tom Brady. He's in his prime. He's playing well. Let's go get Jimmy G. Let's go get Jacoby Brissett. Let's throw these young guys under him because he'll get better. And if he goes down, we have him. The Dallas Cowboys, we don't do that. Who did we bring under Tony Romo? Nobody.
No, we never did.
Never did. Like we don't do that. Who did we bring in under Jason Witten? Nobody. Who did we bring in under Des Bryant? Nobody. Every second receiver that we found that played next to Des was after free agent or a guy found on the streets. We don't believe in it.
The only time I think if you say that goes against the grain with that was Michael Bennett.
Yeah.
And I think we touched on that before, didn't we, as well? You say, like, you can look at the offensive line, can't you? We've got them 5 perennial starters who are absolutely top draw. One of them guys goes down. We've not really had a lot of players that have been able to come in and fill in. Like I say, so we pick up guys off the street to hope that they can plug that gap. But when you've got, say, Tyron Smith, who's arguably the best left tackle in the game, or was a couple of years ago, he goes down. You need someone that can play, maybe not to his level, but someone that can play up towards that standard. And we just don't have that. So once one guy goes down, we're screwed.
Boom, bruh. Boom. Yeah. Boom. I mean, boom. My thing is this. If your strength is running, if whatever your strength is, you should solidify your strength while you're working on your weaknesses. So if your strength is running, we should have too many offensive linemen.
There it is.
Yeah. Exactly.
Like, think about when Connor Williams broke, man. Oh my God, that was a boom point that you just said right now. Because when Connor Williams went down, we're in a playoff, trying to get in the playoffs, and we had to go to the open market and get Xavier Sulafule to come in. Why? Because we had nobody on our roster. Even though we say that we're a running team, that math doesn't add up. Bro, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, definitely.
You could look at it, the quarterback position at the minute. If that goes down, we're screwed. And look at other teams. Well, I mean, I'm going to use the Browns just for argument's sake because they signed a quarterback today. They signed, what's his name? The guy that was in Minnesota before Kirk Cousins, and they're paying him $10 million. Yeah, it's a lot of money to pay, but you've got
Case Keenum.
Case Keenum.
Yeah.
And if Cleveland get Baker Mayfield go down, they've got someone that can step in and play to a high level. If that goes down, we're screwed because our game plan then becomes the Cowboys are going to run the ball because they've not got a quarterback that can throw the ball.
Absolutely.
But ironically, that's the Eagles' way of doing it, and the Eagles won the Super Bowl by doing that.
Great point. Because you got to think like this: when the Eagles won the Super Bowl, when Wentz went down, Nick Foles was already on the team. So that's why I said, like, I'm not even gonna try to make it pretend like I like anything about the Philadelphia Eagles. But there is one person in their organization who I have uber respect for, and that's Doug Peterson, man.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
He knows what the hell he's doing when it comes to paper and pencil and actually like doing his players and stuff. Because even the deal of Carson Wentz, like they signed Carson Wentz so early. Why? Because if you end up, because I don't believe Carson Wentz is better than Dak. I don't. But one thing they did do is they got him before that curve of greatness. If you do become great, okay, don't trip because we already paid.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But but you're absolutely right, man. That's one thing that the Cowboys don't do. Like we in the NFL, a rainy day comes every week. It comes at least once a week. Like, we do plan for a rainy day, but we think our rainy day only comes like, once a season. Like, and then when it does come, we'll just go into the free agent. No, you have teams that are Super Bowl teams that are making those deep runs. What they're saying, like, think about this, man. The goddamn Kansas City Chiefs had Shady McCoy as their third running back.
Yeah, I know.
It's just joke, isn't it?
Like, you get what I mean, though? Like, as their third running back.
Yeah.
That's called making sure your strength is solidified. Why? Because if that guy goes down, we got that guy, and guess what? He can do this. We didn't do that at defensive tackle. We never do that at offensive line. We never do that at offensive line. And then I'm gonna tell you something else. I don't know. We got 30 minutes, but I'm gonna tell y'all something that has to go in this Dallas Cowboy organization, man. And that is this, like, these guaranteed like passes. Like we need to go to a concept where it's like a real, like, if you kill it, you get to keep it, because that is football. That's why sports has always been the transitional of like anything, like, sports has always been the first Jackie Robinson, the first this, the first that, because guess what? Winning supersedes color, anything. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that's just being real. At some time, some people said, "Hey, you can't do this," but then this other guy said, "Hey, you know what? He can give us a chance to win. Hey, let's kill the color lines and let him play." You know what I'm saying? Winning supersedes all that. You know what I'm saying? Sports supersedes all that. But what you see in the Dallas Cowboys is favoritism. You see that. And you see favoritism. You see nepotism. People getting jobs that shouldn't be having jobs. Like, let's be real. Why did it take till March 17th, 2020 at 1:33 for the Dallas Cowboys to know that Jason Witten was no longer be a Dallas Cowboy?
Yeah, I'm with you there.
You see it in a lot of football.
Sorry, Jake.
Say
again, Jake.
You see it in a lot of sports, the legacy of someone kind of takes over what they can do, and I'll just use the Rhinos, the rugby team I support. The team went from a golden era of winning, I think it was like six championships in 9 years, and then you get to the back end of that, and you've got all these players that are 30 odd and they're injury prone, but they're signing to new contracts because of what they were. Yeah, everyone loves Jason Witten, but Jason Witten come back last year and he was just not as productive. He wasn't that red zone threat anymore. But the Cowboys still played him because it's Jason Witten and it's Jason Witten can do this. Well, no, Jason Witten could do that, but Jason Witten can't do that anymore.
Yeah, and think about this.
I agree.
And we never even like kind of put his feet to the fire. He always had the opportunity to like make his own decision. Like, that's like your job giving you the decision if you want to work today or not. Like that, you don't get that. Like, I know we're all humans. We all have that civil right, but working for me, you don't have that luxury. Like, I'm going to put your name on the schedule. You're going to come in on that date. If you don't, I'm going to fire you.
Yeah, no, definitely.
Like you don't get that luxury, but the Dallas Cowboys is different, man. Like, this is a place where the employees actually have a voice. And I'm like, that's cool in some situations, but not when it comes to like me deciding if you're better versus this person, because you're always going to pick yourself. You're always going to bet on yourself. Like, you should never ask a gladiator, are you okay to go? Because a gladiator is always going to say, yes. You hit me a couple minutes ago. You were like, yo, hey, we can go another day. I'm like, no, we're going to go right now. I just need to get my Skype on. Give me 1 minute. He's like, I woke you up in the middle of your sleep and asked you if you want to do this show. I'm like, bro, I'm up. I'm up. Just let me get online and we're going to do this show. You know what I'm saying? So you never... And I ain't even got pants on. So we never, I don't know if y'all got pants on because we can only see the top.
Oh, no.
And then Mike,
I laugh so much I tip my camera over.
Mike, did you do a pants check? Did you do a pants check on live air?
I almost did. I laughed so much I knocked my camera over.
Wild over there. We always assume that people have pants on in the United States. This dude did a pants check live on air. Go ahead.
I was going to say, it's lucky that it just fell straight to the floor because I'm not wearing pants or any underwear.
Hey, man, I love being free, man. I talk better when I have hangage. You know what I'm saying? It's just something about
it. We have gone way off topic here. I'm gonna bring it back. Brian, she's holding the sign up. She's holding the sign up, and we're on the subject of Witten and Jarwin.
We support
on Jarwin today. Is that good or bad?
Jarwin getting signed? Absolutely. I think it's a great signing because money puts precedence. Like, if you paid more for this car, you're going to probably take care of it better. So I like the fact that he's making $8.5 million. As in the weapons wise, Jarwin is actually the third highest paid weapon on his team now. So he has to get used. Because if they don't use him, I'm standing on the sidelines with my receipt like, we paid somebody $27 million. Why aren't we using him? Now you got Amari Cooper as your highest paid weapon. Zeke is your number two, and then Jarwin. So he has to be on the field. He has to play at $8 million. I mean, that's more than what you gave Cobb. That's more than what you gave Witten. That's $8 million in the Dallas Cowboy organization. That's a lot of money. We don't just give $8 million to anybody. That's a lot of money. So he gonna play.
I wouldn't mind some of that money. But if we just move on, as we're talking positive side, Brian, let's start you off. Amari Cooper deal, $100 million. Right, but it's a 5-year deal. Is that good or bad?
I think that's going to be great value in about 2 years' time. And the reason is we all know what's happening in the next year or two. Obviously, the TV money is going to be renegotiated. Salary cap's going to go up to $300 million within about 3 years. It's going to look like an absolute bloody bargain. So, yeah, delighted it's done. Happy out, as I said earlier, Amari said all along, I want to stay here. I want to be here. I'm happy as a Cowboy. I want to stay a Cowboy and finish up as a Cowboy. He put his money, or, he sort of put his money where his mouth was and took the deal.
Yeah. That's what I say too. I thought Amari Cooper was gone too, man. I ain't gonna lie. Like, I really was like, I was in the back end, I was saying, Lord, keep him. But on the front end, just because, man, like there's a couple players that be like, oh yeah, I turned down $44 million more to go play with such and such, and I'd be looking at him like, bruh, I don't think so. But Amari Cooper, I have this strange feeling that he probably did turn some money down, because you see what Stephon Diggs got. They gave up the whole draft. They're not even going to the draft next year. They're not even going to show up. Like, they gave up first, second, fourth, fifth, and like it was a ridiculous amount of. So when I saw that, and did you guys notice that after Diggs got signed, literally, I think it was like 12 minutes later, you heard Amari Cooper come out, boom, boom, boom. Like it was almost like, there's even been some rumors here in the United States that the Dallas Cowboys were possibly involved with that, possibly bringing in a Diggs. And that's why when the Diggs deal fell through, Amari Cooper's went through so quickly, because literally it was like 7-8 minutes right after Diggs signed that Amari Cooper signed. So, I mean, I believe the Dallas Cowboys, $20 million is a whole lot of money. That's a whole lot of money. So I'm pretty sure it made the Dallas Cowboys stand still for a minute, but one thing I like about Amari Cooper is Amari Cooper came over here from Oakland, and he was technically on the decline. You know what I'm saying? And we've actually gotten the better receiver. So I'm curious to see what Amari Cooper can do. There was a lot of talks about him not playing up, all the way through injuries and stuff like that last year, just because of the 1-year deal. And I'm gonna be honest with you guys, it makes sense. Like, if you didn't know if somebody was going to keep you, like, it just, your body just naturally, like, instead of you running into a wall, you're not going to run into that wall. You'll walk around it. Why? Because, you don't have security on the other side of that wall. So I get it. The exact same thing with Dak Prescott not wanting to run on third down. Like, I get it. You know what I'm saying? Like you can't put human things in front of football players and not think they're going to make the human decision. So, I mean, I like it for Dallas Cowboys, because without Amari Cooper, we was definitely about to get set back. That was definitely going to be a setback.
Well, I mean, it is the most simplest stat, and I'll go to you, Jamie, on this one to tell me what you think. That Dak Prescott and Amari Cooper have played 25 games together since 2018, right? In that time, in that 25-game span, they rank third in NFL offensive efficiency and first in total yards over that time. In fact, over that 25-game span, it's the most in franchise history.
It just shows you why it was so important to bring back. I know a few months ago, I think we kind of touched on it. I said 17-18 million, I'd have been happy paying him. As soon as the Cowboys put the tag on Dak and Cooper was essentially going to test free agency, it was automatically going to add on a couple more million, because he had the choice. He had a choice of where he could go, and the Cowboys had to bring him back. And I think if you actually look at the NFL tweets out yesterday of when Dak got the franchise tag, they put out a tweet saying that his top 10 players, 7 of those top 10 players were him and Amari Cooper. Just shows what kind of relationship they've got. Next year you're paying what on if Dak signs the tag and don't get a deal, you're paying him 33 million. Roughly 33 million. You're paying your quarterback how much. You need to get your quarterback a top receiver. You can't have him. You can't go out and get somebody off the streets and hope it can come in and play. They gave up a first-round pick for him. He proved it was worth it. And like Brian said earlier, the 20 million in a couple of years is gonna look like pocket change.
Definitely, yeah. I mean, it's all about. It's not just what you can't look at is the total amount. What you've got to look at is what the total amount percentages of the cap is going to be in the history of its contract, and that's how I break it down. That's how I look at it. What's the percentage of that cost of the contract? Not that year, but as the years go on.
And what I know Brian touched on it earlier. He said all along that he wanted to be a Cowboy. And like I said, he said, and he proved it, and it made it even better when after he signed the deal, it came out that he turned down 150 over 5 from the Redskins. So
that's right.
It's even better. It was a division rival that absolutely.
that deal.
Was there any truth in that, Ty?
Went no.
I believe it will. I definitely believe it is, because any team with a young, I mean, I said this, any team that has a young quarterback needs Amari Cooper, because he is a young quarterback fixer. Like, I mean, because you got to think like this, man. Like, we love Dak Prescott, but outside of the Dallas Cowboy nation, people look at him as a quarterback who was helped by a wide receiver. So if you have that, if you think that, I'm not saying it's true, I'm just saying that's how people view us. You know, some people view Amari Cooper and Dak, because we were 3-5 before we had Amari Cooper, and we got him, we went on a playoff run. So I mean, some people won't overlook that. But I mean, if you believe in that premise that, man, Dak is good because of Amari Cooper, then you probably looking at your quarterback like, well, damn, my quarterback could be really good with Amari Cooper then. So you know what I'm saying? So it's like, if any team that has a young quarterback, like, you know what I mean, that's, and if you think about this, the first 2 deals in free agency, you know what they were all about? Getting young quarterbacks, weapons. First deal in free agency, you know what happened? Baker Mayfield got an offense, got a guy who scored more touchdowns than Julio Jones. Let me repeat that. Baker Mayfield got a guy who has scored more touchdowns than Julio Jones while being on the team with Julio Jones. That's a tight end, number 81, Austin Hooper.
Oh, yeah, very true.
You know what I'm saying? He went to the Cleveland Browns. Then what was the very next deal that went through? A young quarterback, rookie quarterback who won Rookie of the Year, got himself a premier weapon, a guy who they said is the best receiver in the league right now, Hopkins. So it's like, that's what it's about right now, man. It's about getting your young quarterback over this hump. And if you're thinking that these young quarterbacks are just going to come in here and just throw themselves over the hump, it doesn't work. And if it did, Dak's already there, because statistically, Dak has a better 4-star season than Peyton Manning. So it's like, so it's like, if you really look at it, man, this, now that we've gotten ourselves, you know, back to an 8-8 team, because that's what we basically did with free agency. We got ourselves back to where we were last year. Now it's time to start looking at, what are we going to do to start to score some points? We need to get this young quarterback some weapons. Like, we have to get him some weapons. And Amari, go ahead.
No, go on. I was agreeing with you.
Oh no, I was just saying, because you got to say it like this, man. Amari Cooper is your guy. You got to have your super number one wide receiver, because who's going to handle double teams? Like, who's going to be on the opposite side taking care of the double teams? But the thing that scares me about Amari Cooper, and I love Cooper, but Amari Cooper is not a go up and get the ball type of guy. Like, he's not that guy. Amari Cooper's the type of guy that's going to catch the ball and then make moves after the fact. We don't actually have anybody on our team who can go up in the red zone. And you got to think like this. When you're in the red zone, the back of the field is shorter. Where is unlimited? Up. That's why Tony, if you go look at the story between Dez Bryant and Tony Romo's a freaking football god, man. Like, Tony Romo basically told Dez, the reason why we're going to work on so many jump balls, you want to know why? Because you can jump higher in the sky, but you can't go further in the back of the end zone. You get what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you can literally jump 100 feet up in the air if you can catch it, but you can't go 100 feet behind the end zone because you're out of bounds. So what did they work on? They worked on going up versus going back.
Yeah, the third dimension.
A totally different. And then guess what Dez did? 73 touchdowns.
Yeah.
We need someone who can go up and physically get the football, bring it down.
And obviously, for everything that Amari is good for, the only thing that concerns me, and I was speaking, funnily enough, to UK Redskins about this, was just his home and road splits. That is still something that confuses me. I still don't know why that happens.
Wait, say that one more time.
But why Amari's stats when he's playing at home and when he's playing on the road?
Well, I got a little thing. I
still don't get it. I still can't. I watched the tape. I'm looking at it, and I just don't know what it is.
These are the two biggest factors I will say about the Dallas Cowboys playing away. First off, in 2018, we weren't a good. You know, we played 8 games on the road in 2018. You know how many we won?
Yeah.
We won 1 game on the road all of 2018. So I'm gonna be honest with you. Before we can even say Amari Cooper has a problem on the road, the Dallas Cowboys have a problem on the road. You know what I'm saying?
Do you think that's a veteran problem then?
I definitely believe it is. I don't like throwing coaches under the bus, and I don't even think that Jason Garrett was the whole entire problem. I do not believe that he was the whole entire problem. But I do believe preparation as far as getting ready on the road that is on the head coach. I definitely believe that. I also think when you're on the road, there's a different hunger that you have to have because, turnovers, if you give the ball at your house, you can almost get it back with the crowd. Why? The crowd can get high, get crunk. They get you a 3 and out real quick. On the road, you don't have that luxury. But that was just the Cowboys as a team have to get better on the road because statistically, we're not a good road team here lately. We just haven't been. I mean, we lost to the Jets in New York. Like, that's crazy. In New York, we hadn't lost to the Philadelphia Eagles in 3 years, and we lost to them in Philadelphia. You know what I'm saying? So it's like we haven't been a good team on the road. But to kind of defend Amari Cooper, for one thing, Amari Cooper was hurt all season. Like, he was hurt all season. Yeah. Secondly, he had a heel issue. Whenever we play outside, this is a real long Hail Mary, so you got to kind of go with me a little bit. But whenever you play outside, you're playing on grass. You know what I'm saying? And if anybody's played soccer, you know that grass is not nearly as fast as that AstroTurf that they play on.
Yeah.
So it's like when you go to a place like New England where it's raining and you're on grass, man, that's not a good look, especially for a guy who has a heel issue. And then, between the double team. But I mean, my number one thing is this. Amari Cooper's targets went down when we were on the road because, for one, a lot of these road teams that we played against were not like teams that you wanted to pass against the Saints. I was saying we should have been running the ball. Against the Philadelphia at home, we should have ran the ball. Against New England, we should have ran the ball. These are games where we shouldn't even realistically been throwing the ball. Like, we should have been running the ball. Against New England, I mean, Amari Cooper should have had 0 catches. Like, he should have had 0 catches. It was 27 degrees with the wind. It wasn't even going like this. The wind was going like this. The wind was going like this. And we're the only team. We're the only team trying to throw the ball on 3rd and 8.
Yeah.
That doesn't make sense. So it's like my thing is this: the Dallas Cowboys with play calling, we can't, like, we did the same thing we did to Dez, man. Like, we would throw the ball to Dez on a 3rd and 6 when everybody in the field knew we were throwing to Dez. So it's like it makes it easier to defend your players. The Dallas Cowboys have to do a better job of shielding Amari Cooper, meaning when he gets double team, don't just let him sit out there with the double team. Move him around. Remember, that's what Dez Bryant kept on saying toward the end of his career. Hey, I'll play anywhere. I'll play in the slot. I'll play there. Because
Amari can't play in the slot.
He can. I'm gonna be honest with you. I think he's a better slot than X.
Yeah, I do too. I've said that.
Yeah, I think he's a way better slot than X because when you play the slot, you're working. First off, could you imagine
agile?
But could you imagine? Could you imagine a defense accidentally putting a linebacker on him?
It's done. It's done. It's game over. It's game over. This is a guy. When they say work in a phone booth, I mean the guy literally can work in a phone booth. I reckon he could send a message, eat a cheeseburger, and run a route in a phone booth.
And you know what he also does? I'm gonna tell you something else that you also do when you're in the slot. You can't double team a slot receiver.
No.
You can't because it's too close to the line.
Yeah.
So one, he avoids double team. And then 2, if you notice, your slot corners are usually, since they don't play as much as your boundary corners.
Third guy down.
Boom. You already knew where I was going.
Yeah.
You already knew where I was going.
Yeah.
I'm already on a 3rd corner.
Yeah.
What?
It's game over. It's game over straight away. And I've always said that. I think not only is he a better slot corner, he would be a phenomenal matchup in that slot. Maybe we don't know if that's the route it's going to go, but of course, the thing I'm going to move on to next, we did say it was going to be a half-hour show, but we're running on. But who cares? This is what it's all about over here. We got all the time.
I'm quarantined for 2 more weeks. So
we're all in quarantine, so we've got all the time in the world. And the main thing is we've got beer, so the supplies are in. Oh, all right then.
Hey, I tell everybody, hey man, I'm gonna tell you if your favorite football can smoke, don't be looking at West Coast. Your favorite block. I got the same issues. I got a ruptured ACL a ruptured Achilles right now, trying to play some basketball. So
I did see the pictures. As long as you heal it up.
2 more a month, hopefully.
Let's move to the guy who will be throwing in the ball. I'll start with you, Bri. Dak Prescott. So as it stands, He's on. He's on the exclusive franchise tag.
Yeah.
Can you see the deal getting done? Is the first question, and the second question: if they don't, does he play on the deal? Go.
I'm going to be very controversial. I don't think he's going to sign tag. I really don't think he's going to sign the tag, because he has known for a year that the Cowboys wanted to get a deal. He has not at any stage come forward and said, or spoken up and said, I want to get a deal done. Let's do this deal. And let's get it done. His agent is Todd France, who on Sunday got Ryan Tannehill off half a season, a $30 million deal. It's absolutely crazy.
Say that one more time, please.
Going to want about he got Ryan Tannehill on half a season, a $30 million deal. He is going to want $45 million for that.
Bro, I'm gonna tell you this, Brian. I am absolutely. I need to know your Twitter or your IG, because I am absolutely stealing that point. And since I'm a nice guy, I will give you the credit. But I am absolute, bro. I'm up here right now, like I'm writing. I'm typing what you just said, bro. Oh my God, that you're absolutely right, bro. I didn't even think about it that way. For 12 games, that's a client. That's another client.
Yep.
Yeah.
And if you actually look at it as well, he hardly threw the ball as well. Derrick Henry got all those yards.
Yeah.
And got it paid.
That's so true. Yeah, I'm telling you. I think it was Paul. Paul in our group was talking about it. That Todd is ruining. He is ruining football, whether you like it or not.
Like,
I know he's doing his job. This is an agent's game. It's an agent's game at this stage. But the guy is. I agree. He's ruining football. But I mean, I don't know whether. I mean, I'll stick with you for a minute, Brian, and then I'll move it over to I'll move over to Jamie. If you were to sign him on a long-term deal, what would be the very maximum you'd be willing to pay per year?
Again, I said this in the group. I wanted an offer of 33 to 35 million, and say
you're not gonna get that.
It's there. You can sign this. You can go and test the market, see what you can get, because I don't think a team is going to realistically offer him that deal. The teams that I thought might be interested in it were the Carolina Panthers, who have now signed Teddy Bridgewater, the Indianapolis Colts, who have now signed Philip Rivers, and possibly the Patriots. They are the only teams I thought Dak could go to. I don't see another team that would be interested. I genuinely don't. And, you know, I said this yesterday when it came out that he signed the exclusive franchise tag. That was a dumbass move. Put the non-exclusive on. Go talk to the market. You see what you can get. If we don't agree with the figures, we're getting 2 first-round picks. 2 first-round picks can do a hell of a lot for this team. It can get us players that we need. It can get us, not this year, obviously, but in future, can get us players that can build this team as a championship team. There's quarterbacks there that we could use. One of them went off the board today in Marcus Mariota. I think there's other guys there we could potentially look to get, but I don't know. I wouldn't pay more than 35. But again, as I said with Amari, 100 million is going to look like a bargain in 2 years. I think 40 to 42 is going to look like a bargain in 3 years' time.
Yeah, I agree with that one too. Jay, what would be the maximum you'd be willing to pay on Dak's contract? And I'll finish with you then, Ty.
I'm just going to say I called this months ago on one of the shows. I said he would get franchise time.
You did.
And as much as good work as this front office does, shame on them for letting this go this far, because the price has been driven up. Like you said, the Tannehill deal is now going to drive up even more. I was worried because and don't get me wrong, Patrick Mahomes is a great quarterback. Is Patrick Mahomes worth 40 million in in real sense, nobody in this world is worth $40 million a year. But in football terms, yeah, this deal's it's going to go to at least 38 million. There's no way it's going to be. There's no way that it's going to be less than 38 million.
Higher than that. It's going higher than that.
So I mean, it's not going to be less than 38 million. If it reaches up towards the 40 mark, it won't surprise me. But the Cowboys have ended up. I say overpaying loose-tongued because the Cowboys, if they would have been smart on this, they knew Dak Prescott's quarterback contract was coming up. They could have got this deal done last year. Could have paid him. His player has deserved a big contract. Now he's going to get a bigger contract because they've played it with their heads stuck up their asses. And they should have got this deal done years ago. They've come out and said that Dak is our guy. And you don't do that to your franchise quarterback. You don't piss him about. You get his deal done, and then you build the team around him. So it's going to cost them another 5, 6, 7, possibly 10 million than they were potentially willing to pay.
Yeah,
that's true.
I'm with you. What do you go with it then? It's on you now. Ty, what have you got him?
My philosophy, first off, as being a business owner and a guy who pays his, I only eat unless I work. I don't think you can ever overpay somebody if they give you the work. You know what I'm saying? Because what I do for a living, you gonna hit me up and you're gonna be like, dang, West Coast, you more expensive. I know, but my work is better too, though. So it's like, I don't think you can overpay unless you don't get what you pay for. And then I also want to ask you guys a question is, in 2 seconds, man, I went to, back in my day before I was married, I used to ride motorcycles, and I went to go buy a helmet. This is when I was like day 3 of riding a motorcycle. I just got my license. That's lets you know how early I was because I had the license before I had the motorcycle. And so, and that usually people are already riding, and then they get pulled over and they're like, oh, I got to have a license to ride? I've been riding since I was 12. Well, I was a guy that tried to do it the legal way, so you knew I hadn't been riding a long time. And so I go to the dealership, and I go into Chaparral and I say, hey man, I gotta, I'm trying to get a cheap helmet. Like, I need a helmet. I just paid like $9,000 for this bike. I need a cheap helmet. Like, what's like your cheap, affordable helmet? And he looks at me and he's like, well, bro, how much is your head worth? And I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, if you lose your head, how much would you pay? How much would you pay to get your head back? I was like, I'd probably give everything that I could possibly give. He was like, so then if that's the case, why are you going to get a cheap helmet then? You know what I'm saying? Yeah. There's some things that you just can't go cheap on because if it doesn't work, if it doesn't work is worse than if it does work. Because you can ride a cheap helmet for 3 years, and then the one time you crash and it does not work, it's gonna devour all those 3 years of it working. So it's like my thing with Dak Prescott is this. I mean, let's just be real. This is not a real year. This is not something we kind of talked about, but this is a real fact. You guys know in the United States that the NFL banned all these free agents that are coming in. You're not trying them out. You're not working them out. The only thing you're doing is looking at video because of the Connosaurus virus. You know what I'm saying? The Connosaurus Rex. We didn't say the other word. We say Connosaurus, which we call it. Because it's a walking dinosaur. The walking dinosaur disease. That's what we call it on air. We call it the Connosaurus Rex disease. So, because of the Connosaurus Rex disease, you're not able to go try these kids out. You're not the free agents. So think about this. If you're not a top pick, are you working out right now? Because all the NBA players are playing Madden. They're playing 2K. They're playing all this other stuff. So it's like, you get what I'm saying? Like, I just saw Abadico. He was on there playing Madden against LeBron James like 2 days ago, playing NBA Live. You know what I'm saying? But I say all this to say this. If this is not the season to not have a quarterback, because you can't really replace them in the draft, because when are you going to go look at these kids? You're going to look at a kid that played against college kids to determine if he's better than a guy, Dak Prescott? That's not very smart. To be honest with you, I think right now Dak is worth whatever. My question is, how much do you want your 2020 season? You know what I'm saying? That's the real question that you should be asking. Because if that's the case, then really right now, it's not really about a number with me, because if I offer Dak $35 million, or I say, Dak, I'm gonna give you $40 million, and he says no, and I look out there and I see the options, I'm gonna probably come back and be like, okay, will you take 41? You know what I'm saying? because the options are so bad. Like Teddy B is not available. Phillip Rivers is not available. Tom Brady is not available. Kirk Cousins is not available. I mean, there's Jameis Winston. Exactly. Yeah, and then we've already went down the road of a rookie. We've already went down the road of drafting a quarterback. If you draft a quarterback, you're not going to the playoffs this year. Let's just be real. You're not going to the playoffs this year. So it's like,
I mean, no.
So go ahead. So my last point I was just saying is the reason why Dak is worth anything he wants is because this is year 24, and I have not won a Super Bowl in 24 years, and West Coast is really desperate. So since it's not my money, I say give him whatever he wants.
I like it.
Because if he says, because bro, the alternative, what are your alternative? The alternatives are so bad. It's like you're drowning and you're like, air is $1 million. And I'm like, that's way too much for air. But what am I going to do? Give me 2 of them. There's nothing else I can do about it.
And I always say that you got to use that cap up. You can't take that cap with you. It's, it's one of the things. And I'm doing it in the middle of doing a post. I don't know if you want to agree with this or not. Right, just looking at some players, right, just the general stats. So a lot of people say, "Oh, look, Dak is a bad quarterback. We shouldn't give him that money." Right. So let's use quarterback rating, right, as our benchmark for finding bad quarterbacks, right? So if a quarterback has a game of less than 70, would you agree that's a quarterback having a bad game?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would, but I mean, the only reason why I say there's a little hesitation, man, because our wide receivers did not. We had the #1 drop wide receiving core in the NFL.
There is that too.
Like think about this: Mari Cooper got paid and still dropped 7.5 passes. My boy Gallup, we call him the second coming of Dez, but he dropped 11 passes in the NFL. He dropped 6 as a rookie, and we said it was a problem. He dropped 11 last year.
I was just like running numbers, which I'm going to do in a post, just to put it out there, right? So what I've done is I've used the QBR rating of 70 or less as a bad game, right? If it's above that, it's a good game. I know that's kind of like,
that's fair though. That's fair. That's fair.
Yeah, it's green or red, right? So Dak has over his games, he's had, right? It works out to be that 14% of his games are 70 or less, a QBR of 70 or less. Works out 14% of his games, right? These are the players that have more games than him of 70 or less, right? So it works out Matt Ryan, Russell Wilson, Josh Allen, but okay. Jimmy G, who was in the Super Bowl, 20% of his games, he had a QBR of 70 or less, right?
Yeah.
Carson Wentz, but we know he's better than Carson Wentz.
Plays for
Jared Goff, who's been to the Super Bowl.
Damn.
Who are the other ones? We've got, obviously, Lamar, who just got MVP, and Deshaun Watson. All players who were classed as elite and amazing, yet Dak has had less bad games than these players.
Dang.
QBs on that list.
Yeah. I mean, it says 2 things to me. It says, one, when it comes to Dak doing his job and being efficient in doing his job, he's pretty efficient in doing his job. Mm. And then what it also shows you too is it also lets you know that those teams, Dallas Cowboys are a pretty balanced team. You know what I'm saying? Because we're not putting it all on our quarterback. Like, it was funny too, because as you were reading those names, the first thing I was thinking about is, man, Russell Wilson is Mr. Everything for them. Like, if Russell Wilson has a bad game, they are losing.
Yeah.
Yes.
And you can even turn it around and go, well, who are the quarterbacks that are better than him? Aaron Rodgers and Pat Mahomes, and Pat Mahomes is ridiculous.
I don't think Patrick. I mean, y'all can say that, but I'm not gonna say I'm not gonna say Patrick Mahomes is a better quarterback than Dak Prescott. I'm not gonna say that. I'm not gonna say that. The reason why I'm not going to say that is because, man, Patrick Mahomes has Damian Williams, supposed to be a Super Bowl MVP, as his running back. He had Shady McCoy as another running back. He had a guy in Sammy Watkins who we were going to give him $15 million to be our #1 wide receiver. He's their number 3. He got the boy Hill. They also had a second Tyreek Hill. They got the second round draft pick. The kid
Hardman.
Hardman. Oh my God, bruh. I didn't even know he was in this draft. Like I found out about Hartman on accident. I'm gonna tell you how I found out about Hartman real quick. I didn't believe that Kyler Murray won the rookie of the year. I was like, there's no way. Like he's a good kid, but I'm looking at his stats. I'm like, there's no way. So then I instantly started thinking like, who should have won? So I'm looking at receivers and I'm like, you telling me a Super Bowl champion had a wide receiver, a rookie who had almost 700 yards and 6 touchdowns?
Yeah.
And think about this. He was the second.
Reason,
Go ahead.
I was going to say the only reason they drafted Hardman was because if you remember, Tyreek Hill had that 4-game ban at the start of the season, or 6-game ban at the start of the season, and he is literally Tyreek Hill Volume 2.
Exactly. And you know the thing I love about them is the Dallas Cowboys, let me tell you what we would have did. We would have tried to wait those 4 games out. That's what we would have did. We would have tried to wait them out.
That's right.
You know we would have. We would have tried to wait them out. We would have been like, okay, this is what we're going to do. If we can just go 3-1 without him here, we're good. Where other teams like, hell no, he's not going to be here 4 games. Get somebody for 4 games. And if we don't like him, cut him on the 5th game. Because you can do that in the NFL. People act like people think like you can't just like get somebody for a game, play him for a game, and then cut him. Like you can do that in the NFL, and that's what other teams do. And then think about this: we haven't even talked about his all-world tight end, like who's probably the best tight end in the game. Like, bro, your third receiver, like that's why now my biggest thing for this season is, and you've heard me say it already, weaponize Dak. I'm gonna coin this statement. I've said it before, but this is the world show.
Yeah.
You remember the Dallas Cowboys mindset used to be like, I want to be like the Patriots. Screw the Patriots. They get out the first round. I don't want to be like the Patriots. You know what I want to be like? Kansas City Chiefs. I want to do everything like them. Weapons on top of weapons on top of weapons. Have you ever seen those movies when they go like it's a hostage situation? They be like, okay, take your guns out, and they got to take their guns out. And the guy opens up his chest and he has a gun right here. Then he opens up his chest, he has a gun right here. Then he pulls his gun right here, and then the guy's like, wait, I know you. Give me that one in your sleeve. And then he bends down and pulls his leg up and hits a little gun, a little shooter right there. That's how the Dallas Cowboys need to be. We need to have a weapon right here, a weapon right here, a weapon right here, a weapon right here, a weapon. Teams, the number one thing that you're seeing that teams are winning the Super Bowl and getting far in the Super Bowl are weapons. When Philadelphia won the Super Bowl, who was their wide receiver core? I mean, they had Alshon Jeffrey. They had Art Aguilar, the first round draft pick.
Yeah, Nelson Aguilar. Yeah.
Nelson Aguilar, they were weaponed up. They had Ertz. I mean, they were weaponed up. And they went and who did they go get in the at the end of the season from Jay Ajayi at the end of the season, like 4 games left on the season. Weapons win Super Bowls. It's not even really like you really can't even say defense wins Super Bowls because there was some really good defense in that last Super Bowl. But what was the deciding factor of that game? Weapons. It wasn't even Pat Mahomes. Pat Mahomes had a bad game. And I watched the last 3 playoff games, and I'm looking at Pat Mahomes, and I'm thinking to myself, like, I know Dak has had bad games, but Dak has never had games so bad where we were like literally, well, he was the reason why we were losing the game.
Yeah.
Like, let's just be real. Let's just be real. Like, praise God, they won the Super Bowl, and I even picked Kansas City. But the reason why that game was close is because Pat Mahomes did not play well. Like, he didn't play well.
Exactly the same. I watched it with some of my friends who are not NFL fans, and I watched the game and they were like, "Do you know what? This is a really good game." And I was sat there and I was pissed. I was like, "Why?" And I was like, "Pat Mahomes did not deserve MVP of the Super Bowl. Damian Williams should have had the MVP hands down. Because of him is why they won the Super Bowl. The only reason Pat Mahomes got is because he's the quarterback."
Exactly.
Yeah.
Williams was awesome that day. Williams was hands down the MVP of that game.
Yeah, but I mean that's what I was saying. Weapons win Super Bowls. Weapons win Super Bowl. And to be honest with you, I think that's why New England understood that so quickly. New England's like, we don't necessarily have to have Tom Brady to be competitive. We need to have a gang of weapons. If you have an uptick of weapons, you're going to be able to play. You're going to be able to play well. And the more weapons you have, the better you are because most teams aren't deep at the cornerback position. If you're paying, you got to think like this. The more you spend on a top 10 top corner, the worse your other corners are going to be. Like I can guarantee you that since they gave Byron Jones $17.6 million, their other corner is going to be, I ain't going to say it on live, but he's going to be booty. Because you can't afford, how can you afford to pay 2 good corners?
They are paying 2 good corners.
Well, they released Woods.
Two of the corners are earning $15 million a year. This is why they're trash.
Yeah.
You touched on it though, like I said, just because we don't like the Eagles, but if you look at it, that's why it's always good to pay a fairly decent backup quarterback. Carson Wentz went down and they won the Super Bowl and then a decent quarterback. Yeah. Look at Romo when he was in his prime. Look at the year he went down against the Redskins. When he was back, he did, didn't he? Who did we have come in? John Kitna. We got John Kitna out of high school coaching football to then try and get us through the playoffs. It's just
Kyle Orton. Don't forget about Kyle.
You've got that's what, like I say, where we've probably gone wrong. We haven't paid fairly decent backups. We get someone down, and it's like shit. We're screwed. You need to, like I say, you need to have that contingency plan in there, and not just let's scrimp and save. Let's go out and get somebody that can.
We're not proactive. We're not proactive at all.
That's the perfect word. Yeah,
like in business, they always told me the first thing you do when your first day of opening business is you ask yourself, what's the worst thing that can happen in my business? What's the worst thing? Okay, that's the worst thing that can happen, the whole floor flood, and then I lose everything. Okay, so what I'm about to do is I'm about to create a contingency plan to prevent that from happening.
Yeah.
And that's what the Dallas Cowboys should be. What's the number? Because I mean, let's just be real. There's a few things that can happen with our team that can derail if DeMarcus Lawrence get hurt for an entire season, that's not going to derail our entire season. Like, you can bounce back from your best defensive end not coming out there. But if something happens to your quarterback, 2 things are going to happen, right? He's going to miss a game, and then you're going to have your backup quarterback, who's technically Cooper Rush, playing his very first game in the NFL in a game that's just not good management. That's not good management. So he's going to have to manage exactly. So it's like, that's why I say, like, man, right now, the way we're designed, like, the one person that we're designed to not rebound back against is Dak. Like, we can even rebound against, like, if something was happening to Zeke, we can hope Tony. I don't think they're built the same, but I believe that Tony P can do something. If we didn't re-sign Amari Cooper, guess what? Michael Gallup, we're going to have to hope that you can do something, because we've seen you do it, so we're just going to hope you can do it better. Bro, if Dak Prescott gets hurt or does not sign, we have not seen anything. I'm going to tell you this right now. If Dak Prescott gets hurt, your starting quarterback's not even on the roster right now today because of our history.
Yeah.
Think about this.
It'd be a guy off the streets.
Oh my God, bro. You guys, I love the show, man. 2015, you're absolutely right. When Tony Romo went down, we didn't go. And if somebody asked me too, if Dak Prescott get hurt, Cooper Rush is going to come in and save us. I'm like, no, he's not. I was like, because history says that he's just going to be our backup, and Jerry's just going to go get a guy to be your starting quarterback. Because from most of the part, just like if you're the backup girl, you don't ever get to be the wife. That doesn't never happen. I'm gonna tell you forever, I'm gonna marry you, and I'm never gonna marry you. Like, you get what I mean? Like, Cooper Rush will, like, Dak Prescott will literally get hurt, and Cooper Rush will be getting ready. Wait, time out. What you doing? Oh, Dak's hurt. Oh no, you the backup quarterback. I know, but I'm not. No, bruh, come sit down. We're gonna that guy's, see his name? What does it say on his jersey? It says starter. He's a starter. He's gonna play, and that's what we did. We left our backup quarterback on the dang as a backup, and went and got a guy out of free agency. We tried to get Nick Foles, and you know what he told us? That's not enough money.
Yeah. That's right.
Very next year he signed with the Eagles, and what did he do? Win a Super Bowl. But you're right, man. 2 things the one thing I definitely think we have to do is ensure Dak Prescott, because him getting hurt or not getting signed, in my opinion, is the exact same thing, because he's not on the field.
Yeah, I agree. I totally agree. So, we'll go and wrap this show up. We did say we'll do this show in about half an hour to 40 minutes, and we need to double.
Hey, when you said 30 minutes, I was like, as soon as you said that, I was like, yeah. I said it under my breath. I was like, yeah, right, bro.
Yeah. There's too much to cover. I know. I was being unrealistic. But what we'll do is we'll finish off by going around the house, and I'm going to ask you, after everything we've seen in free agency, Brian, hit us off. What position, not player, but what position now, based off what we've seen, do you think the Cowboys take at 17?
Defensive tackle.
Defensive tackle, okay. Jamie, what are you going for?
I'm going to go with Brian, and specifically Kinlaw.
Okay.
Amen.
I still like Kinlaw. Yeah, I still like Kinlaw. And then, all right, then. What about you, West Coast? What position?
Position, and I'm gonna agree with all three of you guys. Defensive tackle, got to stop the run.
Defensive tackle, isn't it? The only other way could be cornerback, but you're gonna have to address that as the board starts rolling. I think on the day. The only other question I'm gonna ask you, West Coast, is something we spoke about today. A little flutter we had going is on draft night. Obviously, the draft is behind closed doors, although it'll be televised. One thing we're looking to do at UK Cowboys TV is maybe just to raise the spirits of people, get people involved. We are looking to do a live stream, get people all involved, get talking. Whether you want to do crossovers is entirely up to you, but we want to get some special guests on during the night because it's a long old night. We need some talkers. So we are hoping if we can get it on, would you like to join us on the night?
Absolutely, man. I do. Because Cowboy Package sponsors my page, so I got to do one for them too. But I mean, shoot, we can definitely figure out a way for us because I'd love to have you guys on my show too. Yeah, they love your accent.
All you got to do is say the word. Well, mind you, you say you love the accent. If you can understand Jamie, you've done a better job than me and Bryan.
Hey, you know what? I'm gonna tell you guys my favorite movie is this movie called Snatch with Brad Pitt. Have you heard about it? Yeah. That's like that. Like if you can understand Brad Pitt in that movie, and you know what he's saying, man. Jamie, come on, I knew exactly what he's talking about. Like if you can watch Brad Pitt's portion and not read the subtitles, bruh, I knew what he's like. Come on, man. I know. I knew exactly what. I'll take that over a Southern drawl any day. Because a Southern drawl, I'm like, are you finished talking? At least I know when you're finished talking, because they'll say a sentence and I'll be like, wait, I wasn't finished. I'm like, wait, my bad. I thought that was a period.
Let me tell you one thing. When Jamie's had a beer, you can't understand a single word. You think he's finished a sentence, but really they're just starting another one before that one's finished. So they kind of merge one long.
Well, if we don't sign Dak, I'm hitting some F-bombs because I would love to hear him drop some F-bombs.
Funny you should mention that because I rung Paul on Friday night after about midnight as I come out of the pub, absolutely wrecked. and he sent me the picture on Instagram, and literally my eyes were like that.
Yeah, man,
You would have met Paul when he's come up.
If we don't get Dak signed, I'm definitely going to hit you up for some F-bombs. I'm going to need them.
But we'd love to have you back when we are in just the early planning stages of it, mate. So we will get everything involved. We'll try and get that sorted and organised. But thank you very much for joining us, West Coast. It's a pleasure. We said back in, I don't know what it was, November to get you on the show.
Yeah, bro.
Yeah,
you know what's crazy? It took us maybe like 3 months to realize the time difference change. It's so funny when we actually realized, like when it was like 4 o'clock in the morning when you hit me up today, and then when we realized when it actually clicked in our mind, the time difference changed, we were able to get on the show. Because every time other than that, it was always like, wait, you said you go live at what time? And then I was like, wait, I didn't know. And then today you were like, it's going to be 1 o'clock your time. So I was like, oh, okay.
We're organized. But, if you want to come on our show, I'll just make sure to set an alarm. It probably work out like 3 but hey.
Guys,
you already know it.
I have breaking news.
Oh.
I'm out. Is it good or bad? Good or bad?
It is bad. My heart is officially broken.
Oh, he's gone. Where's he gone?
Jeff Heath has signed
Who?
for the Las Vegas Raiders.
Who?
Jeff Heath.
Oh.
I thought you said, man. Jeff Heath, baby!
Oh, the GOAT!
My heart is officially broken, folks.
Hey, you know what? I need you to address Jeff Heath correctly. He was the 2-time interception leader.
2-time.
West Coast, I can top that. I can top that. I have Jeff Heath's rookie jersey, worn from when we played the Chiefs.
Wow.
What was
right there.
Wow.
I need you to take it and wring it out and let the essence of the juices just flow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is. Hey, brother, I ain't gonna lie, man. Like this is something we got to kind of think about. Something, man. Like I got to give the Cowboys some kudos, man, because we let some big names as far as like names like that I thought Jay Heath was going to die a Dallas Cowboy. I thought Jason Witten was literally going to be walking out the stadium to get some water and just pass out dead on the field. Like I honestly thought that he was going to come out for a water break and just die on the sidelines. You know what I'm saying? Like I would never like some of these like this. Like there is some hope, man, because we really, even though Jerry Jones is in charge, we are seeing some differences. We are seeing some stuff because, bro, I would have never thought that Jeff Heath would leave.
Nah.
That's a shock at your culture, man. Mike McCarthy, go ahead, keep doing it. Keep doing it.
Well, I said that I like to leave the show on a happy note. So we'll end the shit sandwich there by saying we just love you.
Hey, shout out to the Raiders, man. Can we please play the Raiders this year? They got half our team over there. I would love to play Jason Witten, Murphy Collins, and Jeff Heath.
But you know, I reckon these are all people who got gambling habits.
Yeah. Well, I'm pretty sure he's gonna. I mean, I wonder if he's gonna bring up Jason Witten should have brought the hairpiece to football. That's what I believe. You know what I'm saying? He left the hairpiece in Monday Night Football. He should have brought it. I'm pretty sure he'll bring it to Vegas. Everything will be good. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Shout out to his barber.
And Zeke's barber, can't forget him. But on that note, guys, I'd like to thank Brian. I'd like to thank Jamie, if you understood him, and I'd like to thank West Coast. We will have West Coast back. As I say, mate, if you want us, get in contact with any of us. We'll always join your show, mate. We appreciate everything you've done and your help as well, because not a lot of people know that when we were starting this show, you're actually one of the people I got a bit of advice from. So thank you very much for that, for getting us going along the way. So as we always say, be phenomenal, everyone. And we'll leave West Coast with his very famous sign-off, if you want to give it to us. And we'll end it there, my brother.
Hey, man, you guys already know what it is. Never look down because the star's up. Peace.